Okay, a lot of buzz out there about weekly weight loss injections, and I carry them. I dispense them every day as a pharmacist, but as a RX Healthy Habits spokesperson, I want to cover this topic because I think the weekly weight loss injections, a lot of people have questions, and you probably know people that are doing pretty well with them and they're jazzed about them, and there's new ones coming out every day. There's a new one coming out that I've been trying to order for patients. It's very similar to the one on the market, except now it's indicated for weight loss, because these are also used, a lot of the weight loss weekly injections, for diabetes. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about how they work, other than to say that they help slow down the gastric emptying, they help give you a feeling of fullness, and they really help reduce appetite. So people will tell me, my patients will tell me all the time, that they feel less hungry, they don't eat as much. So the amount that they consume during the day has dropped quite a bit. And we're going to go through and talk about the advantages and disadvantages, all right? And I also want to have a brief conversation then about what I think you should, from RX Healthy Habits, and as a pharmacist, that I think you should think about with these medications. Now, advantages, right off the bat. These are very effective weight loss aids. We've seen some big results with some patients early on where they see, well, the average weight loss that dietitians like to see in a week is 1 or 2 pounds a week, which is pretty good, all right? And some patients are getting a little bit better than that. So they see weight loss right away, and they see it just by the fact that they are able to cut their amount they consume. They didn't have to change anything, like what type of foods they ate. They just didn't feel like eating, okay? I hope that makes sense. They're convenient, and the compliance is really easy. Once a week, you get the jab, right? Done. And that's a big thing for a lot of people, just especially if they got a busy schedule, multiple, taking, medications multiple times a day, none of that. Again, the faster results are there. The significant amount of weight loss, which is sometimes they talked about 5 to 10% people would see early on. I've seen some patients do better than that, that stay on it. They get even better results. So they usually ratchet your dose up so you can get better result, but faster results. That's one of the things that really makes these popular. People see some results right away. They've been struggling for years. All of a sudden they drop 5 or 10 pounds in a couple of weeks, to 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever it is, and they're like, wow. So medical supervision. What's good about these, what the advantage of these is you're not doing something on your own. You got your healthcare provider monitoring you, making sure you're not getting into the weeds with these, and there's not a lot of horrible side effects. Nausea, really sometimes some just not, being like off when it comes to your stomach. Some patients complain a little bit about that, but overall, they just tell me that they just don't feel like eating, and there's not a lot of the nausea except at the higher doses. The health benefits, this is a big advantage, and this is why I think a lot of the insurances are covering it. You're seeing to a reduction in the an improvement in the management of obesity-related conditions, especially cardiovascular, type 2 diabetes, because these are helping lower their weight, but also they do have effect on helping their blood sugars. But overall, there's a big benefit here for reducing cardiovascular risk and better blood glucose control, especially people that are starting to be overweight, they're probably pre-diabetic. Disadvantages. Now, before I go, I got to put a little break in here and make a promo. My blog online on RxHealthyHabits.com is much more detailed in this video. There's a lot of links in there. After every topic I'm talking about, I got a link with a credible resource. NIH, American Diabetic Association, so many good references in there. What's that? WebMD, I kind of like that one. Medline, they're all there. And they talk about all the details I'm discussing here, except in more detail. So highly recommend you get RxHealthyHabits.com, get the blog, but also you really should send an email to us at RxHealthyHabits@gmail.com and say, I want to opt into your weekly email, because that comes out when we have information like this, blogs, videos. So, all right, let's get back to the program here. The disadvantage is the long-term use of these products. Short-term use, I don't see too much problem. Short-term use, for a couple months to get you a jump start, absolutely. So the biggest disadvantage is cost. Typically, you can't get into these if you're paying without insurance much under $1,500 a month. So think about that. That's pretty significant. Now, with some of the insurances out there, if you're pre-diabetic, you might better get it for less with the coupon cards. But it's pretty expensive. So most people, that's out of the range. But a lot of people spend it. I'm totally blown away by how many people say I just pay cash if my insurance doesn't cover it. We work hard to try to get it through their insurance, if they got the right codes and the prior authorization, but sometimes it'll go. Most of the times, unless there's really good documentation, it won't. So next thing, there's very limited long-term data, and the studies that I looked at that I was really curious about was 5 years down the road. What kind of results we have if somebody stood at day one and at day, whatever it is, 5 years later. And I saw most of the time they went back to baseline for the previous weight when they started out. Now, has anybody been on for 5 years? There might be some candidates out there that have, but there's got to be a lot of patients who start out and get their weight down. They get down, 40, 50 pounds. Well, where are they 5 years from now? And that's for some of the studies now they're looking at. It's not going to be done probably by the pharmaceutical companies, but there's studies being done out there. So that we need long-term data about efficacy, but we need long-term data about safety, and we don't have either yet. I mean, we got 5-7 years, I think, but we don't have anything beyond that. But so far, I got to say, with the number of people on it, I think we would have seen some big problems if they're there. Risk of tolerance and plateau. Now, these are effective because you get such great rapid weight loss in the beginning, but you might get to a point where it slows down a little bit unless we keep raising your dose. And you might see a little bit of slowdown there. So there's a little bit of tolerance and plateau. You kind of find a way that maybe your appetite does return. There's all kinds of things. Dependency on psychological factors. If somebody's solely, relying on this to reduce their hunger, reduce their, they feel full, they don't want to eat, that really hasn't addressed some of the psychological and other issues. And you're also dependent upon injection once a week to keep you where you're at. And I think what it also leads to is number 5 disadvantage is limited lifestyle change. I got to say, my patients, I ask them, hey, what are you doing in addition to this, to get your weight in check? And they're like, well, not too much, but I do walk. Well, walking's good. But if you think about it, you're going to have some moderate to vigorous exercise, at least 300 minutes a week, to have any significant impact on weight management, and that's if you eat the same diet. So they really need to look at the limited lifestyle changes that occur. And I know a lot of the pharmaceutical companies and the docs will say, yeah, you got to change some of your habits so you can get your weight down with this product, and a lot of them don't. So, and I think here's the takeaways from Rx Healthy Habits, how we're going to wrap this up. This is longer than I want it to be, but it's a big topic. So I would say that look at this medication as a tool, not a solution. It's really nothing more than something that's going to help give you a jump start and get you over the initial hurdles. It is not really something you should think about for long-term use for weight management. That's got to come from here, from your habits, from your lifestyle habits, from the way you think, the way you perceive food, the way you look at why do you eat, why do you, sometimes have, especially when you're stressed or depressed, all those things have to be dealt with. So it's a tool, and it's a good one. But it's not the only tool in your drawer, okay? You're going to need some other ones. Number 2 from Rx Healthy Habits, I believe, long-term, and really the best way to get your weight under control and keep it there is going to be with sustainable lifestyle changes. You just got to start eating different. I know this. We lost, my wife and I got to normal weight about, I think it was going on almost 5 years now. In order to maintain that, we had to really change drastically how we ate. We still, once in a while, can enjoy foods we always did, but we had to change our eating habits a lot. And without that, I don't think you're going to sustain. So sustainable lifestyle changes have to be made for you to really get around this. And how long can you take the drug? How long is the insurance company going to pay for it? How long do you want to keep injecting once a week a drug that's, if you want to call it, it's a hormone replacement. It's artificially telling you, because it works in incretin, there's a whole complex pharmacology to it in your intestine. And also with your glucose, so I don't want to go into that. But the point is, how long can you keep doing an injection? I mean, if you got another 20 years of life, and they say, well, they're going to come out with something else. Well, I don't see an oral agent coming out for a while that's going to be taken once a week. I just got to tell you, maybe they'll come out with something, who knows. And the last thing is this, I think, I didn't even talk about this one yet. Wait, psychological and emotional factors. Really, the whole idea, and there's some weight loss companies out there, all they do is focus on the mental aspects of dietary intake and the mental aspects of eating. And they made fortunes on that just because it's so vital part of weight loss. And any effective weight loss program, weight management program starts with that. It starts with your mental preparedness to go on this journey and what you're going to do when you come into roadblocks and challenges. The last thing, I think long-term success is going to be ongoing support. And that's going to come from people around you, but also health professionals, make some adjustments. And I think long-term, if you're really going to do well, and jump-starting with these agents, these weight loss injections, that's great, but ongoing support is going to be the key, because again, what are you going to do when you go off them? What are you going to do when you want to sustain your weight to where you got it to? So hope that information helps. And again, come to my blog. It's all there. A lot of great details. And hey, you got to make up your own mind on these, but I got to tell you, I've seen some dramatic results, but I've also noticed that a lot of patients have gotten to that aspect of, well, this drug is going to take care of it. I'm just going to stay on this as long as I can. Not great. I think you can do better than that. And I think when you start getting into the lifestyle changes, you're going to feel so much better, so much more energy than just not feeling like you want to eat. You're going to have more vitality. So can't say enough about it. So hope that helps. If you got any questions, again, you can reach out to me in comments. But until next video podcast, stay healthy, stay strong, and really think about ways for long term to do your weight management. Take care.